welcome all the haters, losers, malcontents, malevolence, trolls, haters, losers, so forth. I think I just said losers in the beginning, but who cares? I'll say it again. Anyway, this is my stream. I'm supposed to be reading chapter 11 of my ongoing series, Torn Lace. Again, this is something I, kind of wrote about 5 years ago. Tried to self-publish it, didn't work out. So, I figured, a lot of people these days don't like to read. So I'm just gonna, just be orally telling the story as we go along. I'm not dressed up, usually, I wear like a sports coat, slacks, dress shirt, looking all spiffy, but I'm just not in the mood right now, just kind of feeling out of it. Really depressed and stuff. Near a Starbucks, and I don't know, I just feel like getting dressed up, my things have been going so well in my life, and I don't know, it's very depressing, and I don't know, it's just, it's like I turned 40 this year, and diagnosed with autism as well, and I don't know, man, it's kind of hard to continue life, and it's like when it's like you're this age, and life really hasn't improved or gotten any better. So I try to kind of like on social programs, and nobody has anything to help with autism, so say I've been depressed is kind of like an understatement at this point. I'm socially ostracized from society, and I don't really know what to do, and they always say, oh, they got all these resources out there for you, but none with autism, help that out. So I tried to actually have an appointment today to get retrained in film and media. I can make my own movies finally, and through either live actors or just using Adobe Acrobat and like doing animations maybe, and also editing video content, and kind of get some more skills. But the person who was supposed to meet me today, well, she flaked out, and I was there at the one. Whoa. Yeah, people don't really know how to drive in Denver. I've discovered that. It's a good thing we're not in Berkeley, because there would be a lot of dead people, and that's not good. People getting ran over, crazy drivers. I theorize a lot of people are from Texas or the Midwest, and that's why they're not used to this traffic. That would explain a lot of things. Anyway, though, just the person I was supposed to be with, have an appointment today, flaked out on me. So I don't know, I'll have to contact my caseworker and get a hold of the Department of Vocational Rehab and let her know that it's not working out on this program to succeed. It's not working out. So anyway, as I talk here, I'm gonna load up my laptop here, and I'm gonna just read you chapter 11, just chapter 11 for now. I've been trying to, kind of like, instead of like all together, I'm trying to space it apart more and more, instead of having chapters, say for example, chapter 4, chapter 5, I'm trying to have it, chapter 5, 6, and 7 on different streams. I think that would give it better content. If I actually get an audience, you let me know what you think. Alright, so here we go. Let me log on to my laptop here. My laptop is really acting really funny lately. I don't know what it is. Oh wait, did I close it down? Oh geez, no. I think I closed it down. Oh damn it. Okay, I gotta search for it. That sucks. Shite. Okay. Damn. It sucks. It really sucks. Okay. Because usually I'll just have it like my story, just like on Internet Explorer, something like that. I just pop it up, but I just closed the program down and I gotta search for it. Shit, man, damn it, sucks. Okay, let me go to this PC. Let me search. Okay. God, it seems like every fucking Starbucks is crowded in this place. I'd really like a Starbucks in Denver. So yeah, I'm kind of like, I'm at an angle right now, and I have my palm on these wood chips. It's kind of like, annoying after a while. So I'm searching for it in my laptop, which is very, very slow. Working on it. So anyway, while this is like, while I'm still searching for it, I'll just keep on talking to you guys if I ever get an audience. So yeah, it's a beautiful day in Denver. I mean, everybody's saying like this is hot, but man, that's like, I used to live in California and used to live in Fresno and get like 110. It's like, man, this isn't hot, this is warm. Feels like it's almost 80 though. Okay, still working on it. This PC is slow as fuck. Anyway, like I said, with content, eventually I'm going to be talking about other stuff. Culture, music. I don't know, maybe I should just, while this is loading up here, maybe we'll just talk about music a little bit. I don't know, I kind of grew up rock and roll. My brother grew up hip hop, rap. So that kind of changed. When I was a kid, it was all about like, first it was like in the early 80s, it was just rock, metal, and then it kind of morphed into like glam rock, pretty much, Poison, Warrant, Cinderella, you name it. They were all kind of like, what they call hair metal bands, and that kind of died away during the early 90s. And I think the biggest disaster for rock music came when the grunging happened, for several reasons. One is that, rock and roll, believe it or not, it used to be like, back in the 80s, when I was a kid, that hip-hop was, not taken very seriously, and it used to be that metal was was edgy. And that all kind of changed, it's kind of, especially when, NWA came along in like 88. That really kind of like changed things up. Before it was like rap was pretty much, rap was like goofy back then. You had like the Beastie Boys, you had the Fat Boys, but it was all kind of like, it never really took itself that seriously, it seems. Whereas like parents were scared the fuck out of like, metal, like Judas Priest was accused of devil worship or some bullshit like that, and it was actually, and that was also too, Motley Crue, they were doing heroin. So it used to be that, like, rock was still edgy still in the 80s, and hip-hop was kind of like goofy. So that changed from NWA and kind of the gangster rap. And that kind of changed up everything, because at the same time that gangster rap started to explode, that was when grunge came along. And so instead of being edgy, for the most part, it kind of like turned very depressing almost. People were whining about stuff. Rock really lost its edge, and I think that's why, I don't even think that the MTV Music Awards anymore, they have rock or metal as a category anymore, do they? So in a way, for another point, some people may argue, okay, well, grunge kind of revolutionized it, by how silly the hairbands were, but at the same time, they kind of like took the teeth out of rock. Rock wasn't edgy anymore, and that kind of destroyed it, because even going back to Elvis Presley during the 1950s, rock was edgy. It was it was taboo. Then the Beatles came along, then punk rock, and so rock for a long time was used as dangerous, and now it's just not anymore. It's pretty much a joke. Okay, so I got this up as a PDF file here. Let me bring this up here. My laptop is like acting up, like it's slow as fuck. But yeah, then kind of like the early 90s, you got all these different genres. For a while there, I thought that was it ska? Yeah, ska. Remember that? It's like the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. So kind of like it was a scene back, kind of like in Central and SoCal, ska. You had like the Skankin' Pickles, Hepcat, I think one of my favorites, I can't even remember them. Checkmate, yeah, Checkmate, yeah. Another great one, another great band, Checkmate. But yeah, that kind of like, I think also No Doubt, Gwen Stefani kind of popularized it a little bit. So I thought eventually like it might go mainstream, but it never really did. I think the reason is that it's so like ska is so complicated with its percussions and instruments that kind of like I think it was too much for like for a mainstream audience. Like a say like a Britney Spears, right? Okay, so now I'm scrolling down here. So okay, let me just do this. I'm kind of like in the light here, so it's gonna be a little hard here. But yeah, anyway though, so that's kind of like, as soon as we got to the 2000s, that's kind of where it's like it went very, very rock, especially went pop more. But let me backtrack though. Another genre which I thought was going to take off in the early 90s was rap rock. Kind of like a combination of rap and rock and hip hop, right? Because yeah, if you check out the what's called the Judgment Night soundtrack to the movie Judgment Night. The movie Judgment Night, no one gives a shit about. But the soundtrack was very groundbreaking because you actually had legitimate hip hop rap artists with rock. I think it was like Mudhoney. Was Suicidal Tendencies on that? I don't know. I can't remember. But yeah, I mean, just listening how amazing that soundtrack was. Like, I thought I was listening to the future. Like, this is the rock rap. I thought that was going to be a serious thing that's going to blow up in 10 years. And unfortunately, like, I don't know what happened. It's like, because then you got like these lame fucks like Limp Bizkit that came along, and it's like, I thought to myself, no, this can't be, because I was like listening to the future, what I thought was going to be the future in the early 90s, right? That the rap rock genre was going to become a big thing, but that never occurred.
In the email, I was like, all right, well, I guess now everybody knows that anyway, so.
Okay, so let me scroll down here. So yeah, that's another like genre that kind of never occurred, never happened. Okay, so here we go. So yeah, as we get to like the 2000s, and that's really kind of like music took a downward turn in the 2000s. You had like the screamo, and I don't know. For a minute there, I thought that glam rock was going to make a comeback. For my their philosophy is that okay, so for like style and like music and culture itself, like as far as like retro, I mean retro is like to me always kind of is a cyclical thing in like about 20 years, give or take. For example, in like 1992, I remember it was like the bell bottoms started to come back, like, and you saw like different like MTV music videos where people were like putting 8 tracks in their cars and like kind of like this very 70ish vibe, the 70s, like the dress and stuff. That's when like Dazed and Confused in 1994 came out, and then of course in the 2000s there was kind of like an 80s resurgence. Back, some people could still say that the resurgence is still there. Let me move this. Let me lean on my backpack here. Some may say that the resurgence is still going on because you still got 80s remakes like Chips going on. So some may say that the 80s really retro thing which happened in the 2000s never died out, which is interesting to me. Because yeah, like a lot of the grunge look, I don't really see that. Well, actually, sometimes like with like the early 20s. I do see kind of a little bit like the early 90s with like a lot of like baggy shirts. Like in the 2000s, it was all about kind of like, tight, like skinny jeans, tight shirts, right? Kind of go back like the 80s look. Okay, look, things are blowing around tonight here. But anyway, though, as kind of like, I have seen it where like more and more kids or people in the early 20s are wearing baggier stuff like we did in the 90s. We wear like a lot of baggy stuff, baggy clothes. I see that's coming back again a little bit. So yeah, so maybe that's the retro 20-year thing is still going on. Anyway, though, for me to kind of wrap up, I mean, I don't really find myself listening to music anymore that much. I mean, I try to look for stuff that genres that I never knew existed, like electronic punk from the Screamers. That I didn't discover. A lot of traditional pagan folklore music, a lot of Celtic stuff I think I listen to, but for the most part I just find myself You know, I can't even listen to like my 90s stuff anymore. I'm just, you know, I just can't. I listened to too much Pearl Jam when I was, you know, still in high school. I think that's what it is. You know, you can always listen to like Even Flow or Jeremy Spoken. You can only listen to that so many times. Probably an analogy to that would be like, you know, I guess if you're like a kid in the 60s and you listen to Stairway to Heaven 5 fucking million times, and so you're like over it, you know, you can only listen to a song so many times before it's like, you know, it just gets played out. But sometimes I feel listen to like a lot of 70s, 80s stuff, a lot of arena rock, Billy Squier. I find myself listening to him, Berlin, The Cars. I listen to them a lot now. But yeah, just a lot of stuff. Even like when I was a kid, I just don't find myself listening to anymore. Even a lot of glam rock, I can't. Most part, I'm just over it. I can't listen to it anymore. Can't listen to any more Madonna or Cyndi Lauper. It's all played out. So that's to wrap up my feelings about music. So let's go to chapter 11 of False Hope. Okay, so to kind of recap the last chapter, remember that Marie Lace was going to a party for Susan Dean's party, which was hosted in the Citadel, which previously she did the pornographic shoots in. And so kind of like, you know, towards the end of it, we can kind of find out a lot more about Susan Dean and why she is the way she is. We also find about Marie as well, too, though. You know, if you look at the last part of the chapter 10, you'll see in my story that Marie Lace actually, you know, basically kind of like masturbated Susan Dean, right? And so she's all, I'm not a dyke, and so she's trying to soothe her. Marie Lace is trying to soothe her, kind of like her this rage in her. She's trying to soothe her rage by basically reaching in, like stroking her in her thigh and kind of like, you know, trying to masturbate her, right? So we're seeing that. We're learning more about characterization. And that's good, especially if you want to be a writer. Really, it's all about characterization. Slowly unfold the character. You know, don't give exposition right away. Slowly let the story unfold. Let the characters' wants, their feelings, their hopes, their dreams, let it slowly unfold in a story. You know, don't just rush at the first chapter. Kind of like unfold the story slowly in the characters. So that's, you know, as far as advice that I can give to any struggling writers, to slowly let the story take hold. Okay, don't force the story. Let the story just slowly unravel. That's the best advice, even though I haven't got published yet. That's the best advice as a writer that I can possibly give. To engage your audience. You know, like Star Wars, I mean, we didn't find out that fucking Darth Vader was his son until Empire Strikes Back, right? You know, I mean, what would it feel like if everything was in the story was when Luke Skywalker was on Tatooine, right? What kind of story would that be, right? If you found out, you know, that Darth Vader was his father before he left Tatooine, I mean, right? I mean, maybe it would have turned the story out differently, I mean, right? But I mean, it wouldn't have given the dramatic impact at the end of Empire Strikes Back, right? That classic scene. It wouldn't have the same impact, right? The story slowly unfolds. Anyway, though, here we go. Chapter 11, A False Hope. Here we go. Okay. The first rays of morning light massage Marie's face, barely enough to wake her from a deep slumber. A familiar noise of gibberish at the foot of her bed brings out a deep yawn. She stretches out her limbs straight above her head with a crooked smile. In her state of disoriented grogginess, she almost loses her balance. Correcting her equilibrium, she makes it to his crib, lifts him up, and with a gentle touch, places his chest to hers. She strokes his back and checks for any unwanted deposits. She nods, then changes his diaper. An old tune from childhood springs into her mind she hums to, as a pleasant satisfaction flows through her body, beaming to the countenance. She had no reason to feel otherwise. After all, she abstained from drinking or taking any drugs last night. Her family was well fed, and as a major bonus, felt something of a contentment over her actions with Susan, boosting her confidence immensely. Whatever apprehension she might have had over her friend's narcotic-fueled rants, she blew off. She had done the same and worse when she was younger. Still, they're coming, Marie. They're coming. The fear crawls up her shoulder, she shoves aside. It all meant nothing anyhow. Despite the trauma of Susan's past, she bonded with her in some way, a profound breakthrough on her part.
She even allowed herself to believe they might become good friends. Maybe even the sister she never had, helping each other out in times of need. After a breakfast of ground coffee, blood orange, and sugared oatmeal, she cleans and dusts the house to near perfection. The curtains thrown open, she basks in the sunlight pouring through the kitchen window, matching the glow from her cheeks. The well-tended garden, from her vantage point, is another testament to their improved diets. What had taken months as a precautionary urging from George Dean for citizens to grow their own urban gardens had now borne its byproduct of crisp green lettuce, spicy red peppers, shiny red tomatoes, and other vegetables crisscrossing the layered rows of swirling rainbow colors. With Adam against her, she opens the patio door and steps through the bountiful landscape. She breathes in deep the scent of herbs and natural flowers intermixing with each other. They caress her internal stimulus enough she could close her eyes and picture the tranquil setting without the use of sight. The lemon tree to her right, budding with fruit, the barbecue right in front next to a small bench. After the billboards and skyscrapers reach past the freeway into the sky with all the brashness of a patriarch. She even knows an apple is a few feet away for the taking. She opens her eyes, grabs one off the lower branches, and bites into it. As her teeth break the red and gold skin, sweet juice runs down her chin. A familiar ringtone disturbs her thoughts. Marie yelps in surprise and tosses the half-eaten fruit before answering. Susan, what's up? She can barely hear her on the other line, busy as she was trying to readjust Adam, who sticks his tongue out at her. Hey love, what's shaking? Her voice is subdued, but still with the customary inflection of a glee bringing a smile to her lips. With my own love. I'm with Adam now. We're in the backyard playing. How are you feeling? Great. A slight hangover. Nervous laughter flutters and dies out, leaving the conversation in awkward limbo. I was just wondering, how you were saying last night about, hooking a girl up? Oh God, Susan. Yes, of course. I'll have a talk with Joe tonight. I'm so glad you called. Okay, thanks, love. By the way, I kept you up late last night, and I'm sorry for that, so I'm not having you come in today. Alright, sure, whenever you need me. I'm glad you understand. Honestly, it's all been scanned into the database, so work has dried up. But when I need you, be ready, okay? Marie laughs. Thanks, love. Bye. Susan never mentioned anything from last night, and she felt no reason to stick her nose in places that might get pinched. Marie spins and floats light on her heels back into the kitchen. She couldn't remember the last time she'd been this happy. No more fear, no more being scared. Everything was going to work out in the long run. If Susan never asked her to work another day, she sold more than enough Continentals, even with inflation running high, for them all to live in comfort for a long time. This being a new chapter in her life, she planned on celebrating the occasion with a feast. Tucking away Adam for a long needed nap left her plenty of time. Steak, a luxury smuggled in from the nearby East Bay, is seasoned with a combination of cracked pepper, soy, and Worcestershire sauce, roasting slowly in the broiler. Red potatoes are stewed to be later combined with fresh chopped garlic and dill for a medley of mashed potatoes. Flour, being one of the few reliable staples shipped in from Russia, are used for biscuits last. Her ever-evolving culinary expertise is a source of pride. As she pulls the last item from the top cabinet, she smiles at something else common before the war. A 5-year-old Cabernet Sauvignon, one of their favorite wines they used to romance the night away before rationing began. Her smile crooks further in wicked delight at a new idea popping into her head. She races to their bedroom, strips down, then pulls on some very provocative lingerie, a dark see-through silk-spun mesh bodysuit hugging her body from neck to thigh. She checks herself in the mirror, sniffs her body for any pungent odor, and nods her satisfaction. The only thing left is to saunter into the kitchen, lean against the counter, and wait. It wasn't long until she heard the living room door open. Marie tosses her hair back with sensual grace. Her buttocks gyrate against the cool edge of the counter in a smooth motion. Hearing a slam shut with a boom, her smile falters and dies out. Honey, what's going on? Why are you dressed like that? In place of Joe's humble but goofy uniform is the much more professional standard Marie recognizes as all too familiar. When the rogue military first poured into the city, the style was the same. The full-body urban camouflage with its white, gray, and black stripes intermingle in a mess of dots and circular patterns. Tan steel toe boots replace some more comfortable-looking leather ones. A carbon 15 pistol of Bushmaster's attached to his hip. Some type of audio/video recognition device peeks out from the side of his bulky helmet. As if by simple thought, a mechanical sound buzzes as the device folds back into the helmet. He tosses aside on the couch, along with a Barrett assault rifle with a flippant gesture. Is that loaded? Murray continues her questions. What do you think? He snaps at her, his eyes a glowing picture of building rage. Taken aback by his foul mood, Murray is at a loss for words. Not waiting for a reply, he marches down the hall. The bathroom door slams an echo down the hallway. She breathes out, then sets up the dinner plates, candles, and decides to open the wine. Fuck, Joe shouts from the bathroom. She runs over in time for the door to open. The bathroom light spills out along with a certain rank odor causing her nose to crinkle. Her hands shoot up to cover her mouth when she steps back, but not quite enough to stifle an awkward giggle. What the fuck are you laughing at? Sitting on the toilet with his pants threading before his ankles, Joe leans forward with an empty toilet roll held high above like a smoking gun piece of evidence. What am I supposed to wipe my ass with? You did get toilet paper from the store, right? Right? A short burst of low noise interrupts the long silence. And who the fuck's taking care of Adam? Let me make sure the, okay, hold on. And who's taking care of Adam? Fuck, Murray, what's wrong with you tonight? In panic, Murray heads to the bedroom to help out Adam, awakened from his long slumber. She feels his moist bottom and scrambles to find a replacement. With a new diaper slapped on and Adam quiet, she jostles down the hallway with him in both arms. She stops midway and stares anxiously at Joe, who returns her look with impatience. It's crusting over. Going into the kitchen, a roll of paper towels tucked away next to the microwave snacks her attention. She takes one and hurries back to Joe. He stares at the roll and shakes his head with irritation. Why not? He thrusts a thick arm out and motions with a calloused hand to replace the precious cargo. No, not from you. I'm highly displeased with you. From Adam. Sure, Joe. Maria acquiesces and places the rough pulp of disposable mass into his small hands. Adam giggles with delight when Murray leans him forward. He takes the roll from his son's hand and leans back onto his porcelain throne. Fuck. This will have to do, but just remember, if my ass bleeds, the blood is on your hands. Murray has to turn away so he couldn't see her face contort into a snickering grin. Back in the kitchen, she places Adam in a high chair near the table. A few teases bring a few smiles out. She then moved near the counter to pour several glasses of the expensive drink. To calm her nerves, she takes a few sips. The sound of hinges squeaking from the hallway grab her attention. She turns around, holding his glass in front of her as a gesture of peace. He strolls into the kitchen, takes the glass from her fingers, and leans against the counter in brooding thought. An explosion of laughter falls out of her mouth. Forced to put her glass down, she tries to keep from laughing too hard. It's not funny, Marie. I could have wiped too hard. I probably would have got an infection. Doctors would have to cut a piece of my asshole out. Shit happens, you know. He can't help himself any more than she could have to quip. A chuckle, then a laugh booms from his mouth, echoing off the plaster walls. Doubling over, he swings towards the sink. The guys would call me the world's biggest asshole. His laughter turns into a wheeling cough. She laughs heartily along with him, stroking his back with gentle play. Catching his breath, his voice returns with a tinge of melancholy. I'm shipping out in a week. Her body stiffens. She pulls back and stares into his steel blue eyes. She could almost cry out the worn-out sadness laying doormat. No. Why, Joe? What's happening? He puts his drink down, then with gentle force, grabs both of her forearms in a gentle squeeze, putting her at arm's length. I don't know why. I just got the orders today from the staff sergeant in our old squad. That goes for all of us. Everything's up in the air. A moment passes between them. He spins around and takes a big gulp of the wine. My guess would be to lower the fence across either bridge, trap the remnants. Dean's intel must know something we don't, that's for sure. And a lot of the guys have heard loud noises across the bay. Maybe a mutiny of some kind. But once again, I have no fucking clue. What about the other plan? Not right now. It's best to stick here where we at least have food, shelter, and know what's going on. We don't have the necessary equipment to live off the land. He stares at her, hiding his tears by kissing her on the forehead and turning his back to inspect the skill of her labor. Wiping her emotions away with a wrist, she flashes him a reassuring smile, dressing the plate with the food. Adam entertains himself by smashing several of the toys lying in the plastic tray in front of him. Watching him dig in, she eyes Joe the worry. She knew full well what he was going through, but can't help but dwell on the promise she made to Susan. She blew it off and almost forgot until the phone call this morning. She also contemplated the tangible benefits of being so close to someone as important. This might be a low cunning, but she could save Joe from deployments. So you know, for the gal I'm working for, Susan? Marie looks at her for any sign of positive reinforcement. Joe nods his answer. Some killer steak, babe. Really knocked yourself out. Thanks. Well, she's in the market for a super duper special guy. How special? Real special. But the thing is that she's not into guys you would normally hang out with, like military or police. I'm offended. It's just some weird hang-up she has. Anyways, maybe during your usual patrol you came across someone. As she lets the last word hang, her eyebrows arching in anticipation. Frowning in thought, he tears into his food. He downs the rest of the wine and then shrugs off an ambiguous answer. Well, there are some people I know at the city hospital. Some guys in their 20s who might be prime candidate material. Well, she's young enough. She is. They might already have girlfriends, but I can look into this. It's just that now, with the reorganizing still going on, I'm not sure it's going to happen. She picked a funny time to start looking for love. We did. Yeah, and so we're still holding on by the skin of our teeth. Joe gets up and pours another glass. She must have a lot more on her plate than at the moment, I wager. His analyst is more accurate than he could ever know. Head of Internal Security. I wonder how she's taking this news. So how are you doing? Sitting down, he gives her a quizzical stare. When you came home last night, I thought I smelled cigarette smoke. Are you back into old habits again? Marie flashes a bright red. He cocks his head to one side as another different expression washes over his face. What is it? She begins, only to be cut off with a stroke of his raised hand. Deadly quiet, except for Adam slapping his toys together. In infantile glee, Joe rises from his chair. Moving like a burglar ready for the next score, his body follows his head, follows his eyes, and follows the ears towards the source. When he brings his hands together, the slap makes a thundercrack echoing through the kitchen. Marie almost leaps out of her seat. Adam laughs and mimics his father's movements and claps along. His eyes bulge as he pries his hands apart. What is it, Joe? Who does not answer. She gets up from the table and gingerly leans over to stare at a loose collection of dull bits of some tiny metallic structures. Her eyes straining, she can barely make out what appears to be gears and circuit boards all scattered in the palm of his hand. They lock gazes before Joe leaps near the refrigerator and pulls out a plastic baggie from one of the drawers with shaking hands. He shoves the bits and pieces inside. Marie opens her mouth, only for him to grab her arm with one hand and cupping her mouth with the other. He shakes his head, lets go of her, then spins in a circle until he finds a writing utensil and paper. Marie stares at him furiously writing chicken scratch, wondering if he's gone insane, until he holds the words up to her face. They are watching us. Okay, that is the end of chapter 11. I'm going to end it right there, so let me close down my laptop here. So pretty much, you see a lot of interesting... some may say it's a boring chapter compared to the previous one. That may be true, but I think, we're learning some new things about Susan. She actually took her friend's advice to heart, and, so as far as sexuality is concerned, that is an interesting chapter because, previously she said she wasn't into guys anymore. She didn't like men. But now we're seeing in the story a little bit something different, right? Here, let me fix this. Let me get up here. Ooh. Alright, let me just walk down here. Oh, right. Here, let me fix my camera. I'll fix my tripod. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Alright, there we go. Alright. It's stiff now. Alright, let me just walk back to my car. So pretty much we're seeing a new side to Susan. We're seeing things appear to be stable in the relationship until obviously Joe, her boyfriend, shows up in full military urban gear. So something's going on. We don't know what, but the reader is letting different information that something is possibly going down here. As far as military offensives or maybe defensives, we don't know at this point. But again, as far as clues, we're getting clues, more and more clues here. So that's interesting. And also, we of course see toward the end. Apparently they are being spied upon. And Joe recognized this and lets Marie know by writing. And so kind of like this paranoid feeling of being stuck in the city is kind of like affecting them, and apparently they do have proof that they are being watched on, so kind of having like this kind of, I guess, Orwellian type of feeling. So that's interesting. I'm going across the street here. Just a nice day. Nice day in Denver, man. I don't know, man. I said, man, in California, this isn't hot at all. This is nice weather in California. Nice blue skies, warm. It's like California weather. I love it. Perfect weather for California. Like I said, man, you live in Fresno, man. It's like 110-degree weather, man. Dry heat. It's like a fucking desert. So this is nice, man. If you're like Vegas or whatever, that's I got hot as fuck, man. Especially in the summer. Fucking Death Valley. Get out of here, man. That's whew, it's hot as fuck. So I'm kind of watching through Denver here. Kind of just chilling here, walking down the street. Got the crosswalk coming up here. Yep. Nice day. Definitely not doing there's not much going on here. Yeah, so now we're gonna go by the we're at Rita Base Trauma and EMS Education Institute. So we can do a different camera position. Fuck, here. It's not doing it. Oh, there we go. All right. So. Yep. I'll go back here. There we go. All right. Not much going on, but I mean, we're not like kind of like the. If I was more in the records field, I think there'd be more going on. Today I have to go to a baseball game. Nope, downtown Denver. What should I talk about? I don't want to talk about politics. Jesus, it's one of these days I will, but just not now.
I don't know, I could, like I said, I've been feeling depressed lately, and you know, my life, and I don't know, man. It's just tough, man. You know, you can only fail too many times before you just get tired of failing. And I've failed in relationships, jobs, careers. So I try to do what I love most, what I feel I was most talented in, writing, and you know, rejected by literary agents, publishers, you name it. Guess I wasn't as talented as I thought, was I? Going by the bus here.
Thank you.
Try to go across the street here without getting killed. That's a violin maker, really. Yeah, there's a business called Violin Maker. Look at that, huh? That's cool. I'm gonna play the violin, but if I ever did, I'd come here. Yep. So I got flaked on my appointment. Supposed to be here at 11. Got here for nothing. So I'm gonna talk to my caseworker. Probably call the when I get back, it's called the DVR. Eventually I'm gonna shut the stream down. I've already read my chapter. You've already heard me rant and rave. Should almost sound like a catchphrase, like Joey from Joey's World Tour. Hey, I'm Joey from Joey Super Cool Food Review. I'm Beak. Something like that, right? I don't want to. I think one of the worst catchphrases is the Pizza Times, Burger Planets, Pizza Time. Call them Pizza Time. The stupid murmur. God, that thing is so annoying. That is the most annoying catchphrase of all time. So how out of shape I am. I'm already like panting. I'm just walking. I'm drinking too much, having a gut. Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, you know, I used to be in shape. I used to have hope. You know, I used to have hope that it may be a career in literature, you know, but you know, a lot of bad memories at FS State, bad memories in California overall. That's why I'm here in Colorado. I don't know. If I ever go back to California, I'm just gonna maybe Los Angeles or whatever, be a streamer. I'm tired of the Bay Area, sick of it. We fucking assholes there. You know, if it's not like the yuppies and conservatives who don't like you because you're poor, and you got the opposite. You got the fucking SJWs shit, you know, who don't like you because, you know, you don't subscribe to their bullshit, right? You know? It's a little warm in this car. A little warm. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna 12:31, right? Yeah. Okay, that's enough, guys. The retired Troll King is signing out. Sayonara. Bye bye. Bye bye.